Hey Stampers, Kim from stampingimperfection.com. Thanks for joining me today. I want to share a card that I'm making, and I was inspired by two different things. One was a class I took on last minute Christmas card ideas, and I absolutely loved the layout and the card design, so I'm sort of casing that today. I'm changing it to make it mine, but this is not an original idea. And the other thing I was inspired by was a class called Sentiments with Impact, and these classes are classes that I took at the Altenew Academy. And one of the things I really liked about I believe it was the first lesson with the Sentiments with Impact, was one way to create impact with your sentiments is to use multi-tiered sentiments, so that you have sentiments sort of layered next to each other or on the card at different levels. So that's one of the things I want to do with this card today. And I'm making a pretty, I guess I would consider it a clean and simple card because I'm not using a lot of different colors. But what I am using is from Altenew. They have this Halftone Happy stamp set with a coordinating Happy die, and I love this Happy. I just think it's a really fun script, and they have so many different sentiments that can go with it. Plus they have two different ways you can stamp it, and it's just fun. So I wanted to give this a try. So I'm starting out, and now I laid this out before I started just to get an idea of where I want to put things, and I took a picture with my phone. A couple of the instructors did that, and I think it's just a really good idea. Here's what I have. I have a card base. This is a white card base from Nina Solar White, and it's just 80-pound paper, white cardstock. It's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2. So I'm starting with that, and then I've die cut a good amount of these. I actually die cut way too many. Let's see, what do I have here? 6, and then I have a couple extra. So I've die cut 6 of these Happy Sentiments, or Happy dies, out of the same white cardstock, and I've also cut one out of this fantastic, this is specialty paper from Altenew, and this is their gold mirror specialty paper, and it is amazing. It is so pretty on a card. Just a little round circle or a little triangle shape on a card or a scrapbook layout just is really, it brings an elegance to it. And when I use it, I try not to get my fingerprints all over it, because I just love how shiny it is. You can actually see your reflection. So you can see I cut a bunch out of this paper, but what I really wanted to show you here was, before I started, I used a piece of this double-sided adhesive paper. I love these adhesive sheets when I'm doing something with these script dies, because I find it hard to put adhesive on the back after I've cut them out, because a lot of them, these aren't too bad, but I do have some that are super thin and super fragile. It's hard to get adhesive on. But I put this on the back. You just peel this and attach it to the back of the cardstock, and then you do your cutting. So when you take your die out, the back of the die actually has adhesive on it, and to use it, I'll just peel my paper off. So I'm going to start by layering some of these dies that I have here, and I kind of want to make a pattern where these hang off a little at the top, and then I'm going to have a second layer here. I'm trying to look at what I did before. A second layer here, and I want to leave some space for my gold one, because I don't want anything behind my gold one really, because I want to put my sentiments back there, and then I'll put the other two on the bottom. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and do that. And usually this adhesive peels off really easily, which is one of the reasons why I like it. So just take the paper off and try not to touch the back too much. You could use tweezers if you're coordinated with tweezers. That's probably a helpful thing to be, but I'm not any more coordinated with tweezers than I am with my fingers, so you can go ahead and do whatever works best for you there. Now I'm going to hang this off and I will trim this. And another thing that you'll notice is when you are doing this, these are a little stretchy. Some more than others. I have some script die cuts that really have a lot of stretch to them, and I can kind of stretch them out and change the shape a little bit. I don't want to do that with these, but you could do that with some of them if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to add this to the top here. And I'm not trying to in any way, shape, or form get it in a straight line because I don't want to be too fussy. I just don't have the energy to be super fussy with my projects. I want them to look nice, but I'm giving them to friends and family, and I know that they aren't going to analyze how perfectly done they are. So I'm just going to put this down here. And I'll be cutting these off in a little while. Probably should have peeled these back a little bit. Now when my instructor did it, she actually layered two of these together, so she made hers pretty thick, and hers was a Christmas card, so you can imagine doing this at Christmas. I'm not sure I would make a whole bunch of these at once at Christmas. I think that would be a lot of work, but I sure do love it. I love the white on white. I just think it's really pretty. Okay, now I'm going to leave the bottom ones off for a minute actually. Let me see, maybe I'll put the bottom ones on and then fit my gold one in between here. Okay, so I'll just kind of lay that there because I have something special I want to do. Since I'm trying to create multi-tiered sentiments, I want to actually add some dimension to the gold because I really want to draw attention to that. Not that the gold isn't drawing enough attention all by itself, but these are super sticky. Getting my fingers all over it. Okay, so I'm just going to add this here. And then I have one more. Now you can measure and go crazy with this if you want to. This is definitely not a design I would mass produce. Okay, now before I do the next step, I'm going to cut these edges off, and I'm going to attach them to the back of this, and I can potentially use these again. Alright, so I'm just going to press these down. And then I'm just going to flip it over and just start cutting. And I just take my scissors along the edge of the card and cut. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Can you see that? It's pretty, it's very subtle. It's a nice little background. Now I want to pop this up, and I got a really good tip from a couple of the instructors I had actually used this tip. This is that white craft foam that you get in the kids section of the craft store, and a lot of times you'll see when people want to pop this up, they'll die cut it 5 or 6 times and then they'll glue all these die cuts together. And I tried that a few times. Again, with thinner die cuts, it's very challenging to do, and I thought it was kind of tedious. While I liked the way that it looked, I didn't like the process. Then somebody shared this idea, and I can't remember who it was, but a couple of the instructors were using this craft foam, so I die cut it out of the craft foam, and I was using liquid glue on this, but I wanted to try the Sizzix permanent adhesive, the double-sided adhesive paper. And so I've run this through the Big Shot with my Happy Die, and the tip is leave it in the foam. And leave it in the foam until you get this part attached. So now I'm going to take this, and again, this is the first time I've actually used this kind of adhesive with the foil and the foam, so I don't know how it's going to work, but I've tried this with the liquid glue, and I loved how much easier it was to line up my pieces while the foam die cut was still in place. I thought this was genius. So I thought I would share this tip with you, and I had much better results. I got a lot less frustrated when I was able to actually attach it like this. And this piece is a little crooked. It just, I don't know why, it just was so much easier to handle. I felt like I was all thumbs when I was trying to just do it with the paper. And now, when I put this down, I've got some dimension to that gold piece on my card. And I like it. Okay, next, I have two sentiments. One is Just So. Now, I have embossed these, heat embossed these with black embossing powder on white cardstock. They came from the Halftone Happy die set. So now I'm just going to cut them up, and I want to put this below this a little bit. And what I think I'll do is I'm just going to cut this at an angle and sliding this under here. I think I'm going to go about there. And this one I actually want to be right on my paper, so I'm going to make this flat. I'll just put a little liquid adhesive on this one. I'm going to slide it under here. Now I'm going to take and remove the adhesive from the back of this foam. And I want this to overlap the edge of this, just so. Like that. And then my last one, the For You, I want to pop up on here. And again, I'm going to trim this at an angle. I think I want to trim this sort of along the P. And I think I'm going to pop this up on a little foam tape. I've got these foam strips from, these are from Stampin' Up, and I really like these on the back of small dimension pieces like this. And these also work very well when you want to add dimension to the back of script words too, if you don't mind spending a little time cutting them down. So I'm going to line this up with the edge of the P and put it on top there like that, and hopefully it's straight. Fuss with it a little bit, but I'm trying to like make this like almost a chromatic card. So I'm thinking I might go with these pretty pink posh ones in clear. I think that's what I'm going to do. I love my iridescent ones from Neat and Tangled, but I think I'm going to actually use the larger ones and tuck them around a little bit to fill up some of that space where I wish I'd gotten that in a little bit more. And to do that, I have this quick stick, which I love, And I'm just going to put a little glue down on my Ranger Craft mat, because what I don't use I can actually scrape off. And you can see this Ranger Craft mat I've used forever. I've just had it forever. Oops, I already took that off. Okay, so this has a little bit of like sticky clay type stuff on the bottom, and I like to use my pointer for two things. One, to hold the spot where I created it, or where I put the thing down, and then two, to put that in place. Just like that. Okay, there we go. That's going to complete my card. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Check out my blog at stampingimperfection.com. Make sure you give this video a like below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can check out these products at altenew.com. Thanks for watching.